Welcome to the Global Summit. I'm Manoj Leelanivas, Chief Operating Officer, Juniper Networks. Joining me today is the Chief Executive Officer of Juniper Networks, Rami Rahim. I'm delighted to have you join us here today.
Thank you, Manoj. I am delighted to be here.
So let me start with you, Rami. I think you graduated from Stanford about 25-something years ago, and you've been associated with networking throughout. How has networking evolved from the 90s to today?
It's a great question. And you know what? I'm going to fill you in on a little secret. It's true, my entire career has been in networking with the exception of 1 year prior to Stanford, where I another passion of mine, computer graphics, but that's for another meeting like this.
I didn't know that.
So let's talk about the evolution of networking. You know, when I first joined Juniper, I think it was all about this convergence of a single network protocol that would essentially be the communication over the global internet that essentially Juniper bet its existence on. Mm-hmm. You know, had it been something other than TCP/IP, we would not be having this interview. The next phase was around silicon technology. And I think this is a phase that Juniper not only participated in, but we led with really innovative silicon technology that we continue to pursue and innovate in. The current phase, I believe, is around software. And not just any software, but software that is cloud delivered, that's AI driven, that truly transforms the experience of those that are operating networks day in, day out by making their lives much easier, but it also transforms the experience of those that are using the network to do practically anything today. I think that's what the current phase or current era of networking is all about, that we obviously are really excited about because it gives us an opportunity to show the world what we're capable of.
Mm-hmm. That's great. I'm glad you touched software because I remember about a decade ago, Mark Andreessen had this famous op-ed in Wall Street Journal about software eating the world. And now AI is eating software. You know, how has networking industry embraced this AI evolution? And now that data is becoming the overall currency for everything.
Yeah, you know, you're touching on a really important topic. If you're going to talk about AI, you have to start by talking about data. And I've said now a few times that data is the most precious resource in the world today. We as a planet are accumulating data at an unprecedented rate. Something like 90% of all the data in the world today has been accumulated in just the last 2 years alone. So the question now is, of course, what do you do with all this data? What do you do with this incredible resource? And especially for our industry, I'm talking collectively, we as an industry are sitting on a gold mine of information, and yet it is untapped. I think the answer to that question lies in artificial intelligence. There is no way that any human can tap into that data and do anything useful with it on their own. It has to be left to machines and artificial intelligence. And the goal for machines, of course, is to learn from this data that's at the granularity of users and experience and applications, and then do something really interesting with this data. And I think some of the most interesting things to do are real value-generating outcomes, like accelerate the time to deployment of new services, understand when issues occur in the network and fix them before anybody even has a chance to understand that there has been a problem in the network. Heck, reduce problems altogether. And our AI-driven enterprise approach, in fact, our AI-driven networking approach, is all about doing all of the above.
Yeah, it's been, there's been growth in the last couple of decades, across the entire tech industry and also networking. And there's a lot of change, and the pace of change is also changed in many ways, right?
Yep.
So when you have this, rapid pace, how do you get everyone to kind of swim in the same direction, sort of, row in the same direction, in the industry as well as at Juniper? How do you do that?
It's a great question. And in fact, you could probably answer it better than I can, since you are the one that's always pushing for that change that we need so much. And it's true, I think any tech company needs to evolve, needs to change in order to survive, because our landscape, our environment, it's constantly changing. And you know better than anybody else, because you've been on this transformation journey with me, that Juniper has been not only on a transformation journey, I'd say it's a reinvention journey, right? People know us as the company that build carrier class, highly reliable, mission-critical networks, and we continue to do that. But if you're going to pivot to this world of software and AI-driven and experience, you do need to change. And you and I together have been embarking on this. We put in place a strategy, then we communicated that strategy to everybody that would listen: investors, our own employees, our customers, our partners, right? So with change, you have to get buy-in, and overly communicating is really important. And then we went and we executed, right? We transformed, we put the right organizational structure in place. We transformed our go-to-market to be able to tap into the broad market opportunity. We have been more acquisitive over the last few years because we knew that some of the innovation that we needed was outside of our own skill set, out of our own capability. And so we have been more acquisitive than normal over the last few years to bring in the talent and the technology. We've implemented company-wide objectives to ensure that we're executing rapidly on this new and exciting vision. So, all in all, yes, change is hard. It's especially for humans that like, consistency and more of the same. But I think we've done a tremendous job in demonstrating the power of that change and that reinvention to Juniper. You can see it in our incredible results that we're posting quarter after quarter these days.
Well said, Rami. I think the true transformation is on its way. I'm going to touch on a topic related to this, but probably more closer to your heart. All this change is great, but I think there is also an evolution in terms of the workforce, right? The demographics is changing. Now the millennials and the next, Gen Zs are coming to the workforce. So things are different from what it used to be. I mean, like 20, 25 years ago, organizations were run in a command and control sort of fashion. Now you got to get buy-in in a different sort of way. It's more interdependent culture. There is much more of a mission orientation. So how do you attract and retain talent? And this is not just for Juniper. I'm sure all of our customers are going through the same sort of challenge, right? In terms of keeping their networking and security professional excited and engaged and attracting the next set of talent. So what is your point of view on this?
So it is absolutely a top of mind issue for me, for all of us at Juniper. We want to make sure that we're able to attract and retain the best talent to allow us to fuel the growth that we're seeing in our business. And I'm sure this applies, as you said, to everybody that's in the industry, everybody that's watching this. I think there are some basic things, right, around having a really great culture, good people, giving employees, new hires the opportunity to learn, to grow their careers. All of this is the basics. But I also believe strongly that the kind of talent that we want, we as an industry here, is talent that believes in a mission, in a purpose, in a calling that's greater than ourselves. And if you think about this industry, not just Juniper, this industry and what we do, it's really important. If you think about the last couple of years of this pandemic, where we needed the network to do practically anything, to work, to educate our children, to do commerce, to shop, to get healthcare. I shudder to think of a situation that we've had to deal with during the pandemic without the technology, the products, and the solutions that this industry is responsible for. I've always felt this strong sense of responsibility for the work that we do, but I've never felt it more than how I felt over the last couple of years. I think this mission is incredibly motivating for me. I also think it can be incredibly motivating for many of those that are considering now where to build their careers. And that's, I think, articulating that and always reminding people and providing people with that context is probably the right thing to do.
So bringing back to today a little bit, right? You mentioned the pandemic, coming out of the pandemic, but then now there is an invasion in Russia. There's a Russian invasion going on. There is inflation, which is kind of going rampant, and there is always the specter of the recession, behind you, right? So it's a very different sort of time. We're getting into a little bit of the unknown world. Juniper has done extremely well. Our customers are, super excited with our solutions. But in these unknown times, how do you make sure that our approach to the company as well as the industry is as resilient as possible? I mean, what are the things you think about?
Well, so it's really important that you're always trying to look as far ahead as possible around corners to the extent that's possible, and to get as much of an understanding as you possibly can about big inflection points, risks that are happening in the industry so that you can react to them quickly enough. So obviously we have our CTO, Raj, that's always trying to think 3 to 5 years from a technology standpoint and making sure that we're equipped to not only navigate around these inflections, but to capitalize on them, to leverage them, to take share. So this is really important, but nobody has a crystal ball. And especially in a dynamic world such as the one you've described that we live in today, I think it's really important to build a resilient company. And we've always believed at Juniper that resilience comes with diversity in our business. And you know this, Manoj, for the first time ever in Juniper's history, Q1, enterprise became our largest segment. This is in no way saying that the other segments of SP and cloud are not important or are not doing well. They're actually performing exceptionally well. But think about that breadth that we have built in our business with the diversity across each of our strategic vertical market segments and strategic solutions. That, to me, is an important part of how you build a resilient company that can withstand challenges that might impact us in a particular segment or another. This is all part of this transformation and reinvention I just talked about. And one of the most important outcomes of that reinvention has been that resiliency.
Last year, Juniper had a good growth year. And this year, we're going to post even more growth. That's what we projected to the street. It's a great time. There's a certain swagger, a confidence in Juniper, and customers can see that too. So what's new and exciting in store for our customers?
I could talk about all these cool things that are happening in our industry, Web3, cryptocurrency, the metaverse, all these cool things. I think all of these are exciting things, but there's a lot of uncertainty. I'm excited about the fact that this is an industry that has now gone from just talking about and PowerPointing the promise of experience-first networking through software and automation into actual deployments, real-life examples of where software has truly crushed the number of trouble tickets, crushed the poor experience that people have come to expect of their enterprise Wi-Fi and wired networking experience. And that, to me, is the most exciting thing. And that's not done yet. We're just scratching the surface of what is possible. The explosive growth that we're seeing in our business right now, in fact, is just the beginning of what's possible. I truly believe that just as there is this need today for a self-driving automobile, the future is around a self-driving network where humans literally have to do nothing. The network essentially gets out of the way and we can focus on what is important, which is driving our business forward, advancing our business strategies, innovating and keeping the disruptors out of our space. Heck, disrupting ourselves. That's what's really exciting for me, Manoj. But you know what, Manoj? I think you can answer this question even better than I can. So why don't you share your thoughts about what's exciting and what's ahead?
You're putting me on the spot there, Rami. First of all, I think I'm super excited of the mission of the company. The last 3 years of navigating this complex pandemic wouldn't have been possible without a mission like what we have in the company to connect everything, empower everyone. The fact that, we could contact trace anybody, the fact that, flawlessly education continued on as before. We could order food from anywhere. All of us, overnight became part of digital transformation. Everybody started working from home and it just almost flawlessly worked. 100 years ago, when there was a pandemic, the world stood still. And this time, the world did not. So I think that's very powerful personally for me. Looking forward into the future for us and our customers together, I think there is, we got a great accolade from Gartner. We are the leader in the Magic Quadrant of wired and wireless. To me, that's just the start. Right? There's an opportunity to make things easy for our customers, our enterprise customers, in terms of wired, Wi-Fi, SD-WAN, everything, all AI-driven, and the thing just works. Imagine the beauty when there is no more of the swivel chairs where people are looking at the different dashboards. Things just work. I think that's exciting for me. Similarly, if I look at the data center, gone are the days of the vertically integrated data center networking stacks. The ability to have a multi-vendor solution where everything is orchestrated and automated flawlessly. That's what Apstra brings to the table. That's exciting. I want customers to really, really embrace that and see the benefits of that. Look at our cloud business. I'm super excited about it. I mean, once upon a time, we were talking about our strong routing business in the cloud. Now, two data center mega wins in the top 10 in the last 9 months. That's exciting. And we are working with our cloud customers, making their customers and networks more secure and capable. Last but not the least, when you look at service providers, we have held our own in the core and edge of service provider networks for a long, long period of time. Great solutions. Now we're extending that same GNOS, the same capabilities to the metro, as well as providing an automation solution. Again, true to what you said about experience first, everything is going to be control point driven. This powerful thing is going to do amazing things for our customers, and of course, it's going to benefit Juniper too. So, which is great to hear. So we talked about yesterday, we talked about today, we even talked about tomorrow. But let's just talk about day after tomorrow a little bit. How about that? Is there a moment for networking where networking will cease to be complex? Networking will be absolutely simple, so much like air, so much like oxygen. Is that future in the next 5 years, 10 years? What's your crystal ball telling you?
I think it's in 5 years. It's probably weird for people to hear the CEO of a networking company say that he wishes that the network would go out of the way. But that's exactly what we should be wishing for, that the network literally gets out of the way of what we need to do to drive our business and our strategy forward. And I think we're well on our way to make that a reality.
Thank you for joining us today, Rami.
Thanks, Manoj. It is my pleasure, and I honestly could not be more excited about the future.